What's up, party people of the SFL? What's going on? Looks like we got a full house tonight already. Welcome to episode 97 of Access Live as we creep closer and closer to episode 100 coming up here in a couple weeks. Glad to see everybody in the chat already. I'll be to you in just a moment. Yes, I did say a full mouse. Hey, yo. Everybody. Oh, these are going to go on all night long. I can tell already. Anyway, welcome to the show. We have another esteemed panel, as we always do. Mystery panelist number 13. Anybody got guesses yet? Go ahead and throw them in the chat here, the show chat. I already gave you one hint in my announcement earlier today. Hint number one, this person has never been on the show before, not even in the old days before we went to camera. They've never been on the show. So there's your first hint. In the meantime, a few quick shout outs before we get to the party people. Number one, Frank the Franchise Wade is not with us tonight. He is in San Diego celebrating his 25th wedding anniversary with the missus. So I just wanted to throw a shout out. Congrats, Frank and Mrs. Franchise. Hope you guys are enjoying my home, my old hometown, my home away from home in San Diego. Hope you guys are having a blast and happy anniversary. Also, our thoughts and prayers, if you will, and definitely our well wishes go out to Bob Funk. If you haven't been in the Access Live server today, go to the main chat. Bob Funk crushed his pinky in an elevator shaft or something like that. And so he's got it all bandaged up. It's a little nasty looking. Now, I'm afraid of what it looks like without the bandage on. But Bob Funk, shout out to you, bro. Hope you heal quickly and you're feeling better soon. Last thing I want to say is I want to throw a shout out to everybody in the SFL community that voted in the Swamp Talk Awards. We here at Access Live appreciate the award win of Best Content. Which, you know what, in this league right now, that's kind of a big deal. There is a lot of amazing content, which we will talk about more later in the show and after dark. There are a million just amazing content creators, both doing podcasts and shows and on the written side and the whole nine yards. So thank you, everybody, for voting for our show. For me and the Sweet 16 and Gunny and everybody involved. We really appreciate that. All right, now let's go check out my party people. My party people. Yo, yo, get funky. All right, let's see. Nate Hall's in the house. Harish is here. Mike All, Pink Lisa, Corey Mizzou. Not just Pink Lisa, the amazing, perfect, beautiful, amazing, wonderful, the best wife on the planet, Pink Lisa. Bob Funk is in now. Look at this guy. Bob Funk plays injured, folks. This guy does not play. Bob Funk plays injured. He's in the house tonight. Bob Funk, good to see you, buddy. EJ Minson's here. Charles is here. Good to see you, bro. Twin Screws in the house. I knew Ethan Kai would not miss tonight. He wants to see Nate Hall, as many of you do. Will Todd is back. That's what she said. The mighty Joe Young, Guy Clausen's with us. Hubba Breezy's back as usual. Who else we got here? The commish, Cam's in the house, everybody. Boomberry's back. Freddie's here. O-Town EK is here. Josh Farnsy's back. Who else we got? Hugo, good to see you, Hugo, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Eddie Gage, what up, though? Eddie Gage is in the house. Bullet Boletsky, always here as well. Good to see you, Bullet. You know what, Bullet? We should bring you on next season on the show and have you do. You know how sometimes in Gen Chat you do that kind of bullet points wrap up of all the crap we talked about for 2 or 3 hours in Gen Chat? You should come on the show and do bullet points at the end of our show, but throw your own twist on it. What do you think about that? Think about it. DM me. Let me see. Leon Thunderman is here again. Good to see you. Let me see. I don't want to skip anybody. Doug Britton sneaking in at the last second. And I think that's about it. If I missed you, go ahead and at me, because sometimes, believe it or not, even though Lisa will disagree, sometimes I do make mistakes. It happens. I don't know what to tell you. Let me see. So that's the party people. Let's go check out our esteemed panel for show 97. Starting in the unscripted circle. This is a man that, once again, All you need to wonder is where is he broadcasting from tonight? Let's take a peek, ladies and gentlemen. We never know what room he's going to be in, so let's check it out. In the unscripted circle, Mike All. In what room of your house, Mike All? Tell us right now.
You are looking live at my garage, as evidenced by the car behind me.
Holy smokes. All right, so you have not been in the garage before on the show.
Nope.
So how many different places in your house now have you? I mean, are you running out of spots or what?
I'm running low, Dave. There's still a couple spaces left, but this is location number 11 from the house.
Really? Already? Dude,
Yeah.
you're gonna be on top of the house pretty soon. I have a look at Cam said bathroom Thursday. Is that kind of like Taco Tuesday? It probably is after Taco Tuesday. Hey-o, da-dunch. We'll be here all night. Well, Mike, welcome back to the show as always. You look very comfortable in your garage this evening.
Thank you, sir. It is a nice night out, and last week kind of inspired me to say, hey, I'm going to go in the garage with the door open. So
That sounds perfect. In the unfiltered circle, ladies and gentlemen, you've been waiting for this since last week. I did not have a show on Thursday, so I could not bring it to you live. But now, all of you, ladies and gentlemen, all the party peeps, you are officially on the ear with Mr. Nate Hall. Nate, welcome to the show. You look amazing.
Well, thanks for that bullcrap, but hey, how you doing?
Wait, are those lights or is that just a reflection of your screen?
That's just reflection. I got the TV on watching some NBA playoff action.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's Ethan Kai's reward for beating Madison a week and a half ago.
There you go, Ethan. Everybody, I love when people pay their debts in this league. It's a beautiful thing. Nate, thanks for manning up and wearing the ears and being here tonight. Appreciate you, bro.
You know it. Hey, Kendra had this all planned out and everything when she got home from work.
Gotcha. All right, in the unedited circle tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a minute since he's been here. He was here a few weeks ago, but before that, he was a little busy doing a couple of small, tiny little things in this thing we called life that you will know as soon as I introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, the coach is back. The host of Coach's Corner and my friend, Coach Craven, is back. Coach, welcome back. How are you finally settled in Oklahoma or what? Oh, you're muted, bro. Is that a muted, bro, already? Yep. Boom, got one.
Rusty. I'm rusty, Dave.
You are.
Am pretty well settled in. And if I'd known, though, that we were doing costumes, I would have got my bunny outfit out.
Oh, you know what? You can save that for next time. Or maybe you should say.
I'm in the Matrix.
Actually,
I'm in the Matrix.
I was like, I don't see Bo Martin Jr. in the show chat. Does anybody see? Is there a Bo Martin Jr. sighting anywhere? Because Coach is going into the Matrix, and on top of that, Coach, I have an idea. You should wear the bunny costume on your next show. Oh,
that's a good idea because I'm not on camera on my show. That's an excellent idea.
Hey, yo, there you go.
I'll save it for the convention. I'll save it for the convention.
That's even better. Looks like AJ just snuck in. Mike St. Green is in the house now. Let me see who else snuck in here a second ago. Benji, good to see you, bro. I think that's about it. That just snuck in the last few minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, guesses on mystery panelist number 13. I gave you hint number 1 in my show announcement earlier today. This person has never been on my show as a guest or a panelist, or I believe even on After Dark. They've never been on the show before. So the very first time they are on the show, they are mystery panelist number lucky 13. Any guesses? Anybody? I'm not moving on until I get some guesses. So we'll just sit here. We'll sit here and play chicken all night. I don't care. Let me see here. No, I already introduced Coach. Oh, I think is my feed behind? Kramer? No, that's a good guess. Robert Garrett Jr. That guy can't be a guess. He's on the show too much. I think he'll be here Thursday, actually. Who else we got here? You know, that's weird. I don't know what's going on with this. Something's weird on the chat, but I have it on my phone in order. Frank Gooden, Josh Miller, those are all good guesses. No. All right, second guess. This guy could play opossum really well. Gerald, nope. BDG, nope. Mighty, nope. Robo, what? My boy Robo? Nope, not Robo. Mighty, what? Hyundai Kona. Mike, what the hell are you even saying, bro? Tom Ramen, no, nothing there. All right, no. All right, let's see. How about one more? I'll give you one more. Oh, people are starting to get it. If I throw out the number 69, who do you think of in the SFL? Who is? That's the last hint you get. If you don't get it on this one, then you just don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the Cam's all, oh boy, oh boy. The co-owner of the Carolina Skyhawks, an amazing wide receiver, and just overall good guy and moderator for the SFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Harish Prasad is in the house. And look at that, Harish, bringing his own memes. This guy, dude, you are on it. You are just on top of things, bro. First of all, welcome to the show for the very first time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Actually, I have been on the show once, and that was when I got Diva of the Week.
Oh, that's right. So technically what I said was right. You were never been on as a guest or a panelist or After Dark.
Technically, yes.
Technically. What's up, Doug Day, in the background on Coach's shoulder? What's up, bro? Good to see you. Hey, Coach, ask Doug when he's coming on the show. Let's see what he says. I want to make sure Coach isn't muted again.
He can do a Thursday. He's off on Thursday.
All right, we'll talk. Tell him to slide into my DMs. Hey-yo. So, Harish, first of all, welcome to the show. I'm really glad you're here. I know we've been talking about it for a while. We finally got this thing done. But I need to share something with you. You come to the show prepared. I also come to the show prepared. So, ladies
we were on the same wavelength on that one.
Absolutely. I'm like, there's no way I am not showing those two pictures with you finally coming on the show. That's never going to happen. Oh, my goodness. Let me see if
That's a meme that will never go away, and I am here for it.
Oh, no, it's going to be now here on the – it's now forever, dude. Once this gets transferred from Twitch to YouTube, it's forever. You know, YouTube's forever, baby. So, there it is.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you will always see it. All right, let me see if anybody else hopped in real quick. Hacker, good to see you, bro. AJ, I think I already said hi to you, sweetie. What else? Boom, boom, boom. All right, I think that's it for anybody else hopping in. Harish, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here finally.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start tonight with some SFL Minor League. It's already been well documented. We don't cover it like we used to, but we're still going to cover it a little bit. There was Week 7 on Sunday, a couple days ago, Memorial Day weekend. Ottawa played at Albuquerque, Memphis played at Salt Lake, San Jose played at Birmingham, and Madison played at Tacoma. In Game 1, I don't know what kind of roids Albuquerque's on, but they must be big ones. They win again, and they win big, 47-14. Over Ottawa to go 6-0. In game number 2, Salt Lake and Memphis, a game I thought would actually be a lot closer. Salt Lake, along with Albuquerque, kind of starting to separate themselves from the pack with a 41-21 win, moving to 5-2. Game 3, dude, my San Jose coach, our San Jose team, squeaking out victories, baby, squeaking out victories. 17-13. Over Birmingham. Is Birmingham going to get a win this season? How many games are left? One, I think? One or two? And then lastly, Tacoma. Moving to over 500 with a 30-20 win over Madison. Madison drops to 500. You can't talk minor league games these days without bringing up Sim Scouts Inc. and my man Mike Twinscrew. Mike Twinscrew is here to join us this evening to talk about his most recent that came out on Sunday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mike, positional rankings for the SFL. Mike, welcome back to the show, bro.
What's happening in SFL? What's happening, Dave? Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Always. You're always welcome. I broke down your spreadsheet a little bit different this time. I cropped it just to make it bigger for people to make it easier to see. Offense first, then defense. As everybody remembers, green means you went up, red means you went down, white means you stayed the same. On the offensive side of the ball, Mike, biggest shakers and movers this week, and what do you, an overall view of the offensive players?
Yeah, so the offensive players, I mean, the last, I don't know, 2 weeks now, yeah, we've had a couple of small changes here and there. Those bottom, well, the top four quarterbacks, they've kind of been juggling spots all season. The bottom five kind of staying the same. We changed a little bit this week, but quarterbacks, I think they're pretty much going to be just about where they're at for the season. To go with the whole spreadsheet for a second, this is the first week that the top two in each position stayed the same from the previous week. And like I said, like in week 3, week 4, week 5, come week 6 and 7, these things are going to start to even out, and there won't be a whole lot of movement. And here we go. So for the offense, I mean, these are just small changes. Most of the changes that you're going to see really on the whole sheet is going to just be activity.
Okay. Anybody this week stand out one way or the other, activity-wise or anything-wise for that matter?
Well, like I said last week, a lot of this now is coming up on activity because there's a lot of these second-year players now that cannot progress anymore because they're totally done with progressions. We've had a lot of chatter on, progression and what the league's going to do and things like that. But some of these guys, they cannot progress anymore. They're maxed out in everything. So a lot of what you're seeing now in my board is going to be activity. As far as the activity goes, like last week, only half of the sheet that you see, only half of them were active. I'm counting about 133 SFLm players, and only half were active at all.
Okay.
Not to mention if it was a little bit or a lot or whatever the case may be, only half, period. So that's kind of what you're seeing on this sheet so far.
Okay. Let's move on to the defense. I'm sure you're going to say a lot of the same things, but again, anything stick out? And does it look like O'Rourke is a different color and Sonny J is a different color? Did I miss something in your key before I cropped it off?
Yeah, so those two, they're in a yellow. And like the previous weeks, the yellow, that is their first week on the board, so they're brand new to the SFLm. And as you can see, like O'Rourke there, I mean, dude came in, he was already active a little bit, so he's going to jump some people that aren't active.
Gotcha. Again, same question as I asked you on the offense. Any big movers and shakers? And like you said, they can't progress, only activity at this point. But anybody really jump up like, maybe a David Ware, Terrence Pearson, or were they just all minor moves?
Yeah, these are all minor moves as the same. And like I've said before, I mean, that linebacker core is amazing, at least, like the top 12 or so. Just amazing in the league, and they're going to do great things for the league. The free safeties, I think a couple of those guys in that list, not necessarily top 1 and 2, but a couple of those guys really can't progress much more. So they're kind of stuck where they're at. And same with quarterbacks. They're just done progressing. So these are all real small and minor changes based on pretty much activity now.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Mike, I know you're feeling under the weather, so I really appreciate you coming on anyway to knock this out for us. Any last words, and throw your Twitter out there too so people can see this live when it comes out on Sundays.
Yeah, so Twitter is at VisGothVWO, VISIGOTHVWO. A lot of people are on it already. Thank you. So a couple of things. I also give credit for content. We got quite a few SF minor leaguers that are doing content. We have about 12, I think I have that number correct, that are doing content, whether it's Swamp Talk or videos or whatever the case may be. They are doing content. And I only have 2 that I know of that are assisting their teams in scouting. Which is kind of crazy to me because when I was on Madison, my first in season 1, hell, we had 2 scouts on our team that were minor leaguers, me and Jess. So to only have 2 in the entire league that are assisting their team kind of says a lot about this group.
Okay, awesome. How many are you going to be readjusting this all the way up to the draft, or is there a cutoff for this?
So I've been thinking, and I'm doing one more for sure.
Okay.
I may do 2. Depending on when the re-signings start. Because as soon as re-signing starts and free agency starts and is completed, I'll be jumping right into the mock drafts. So 1 for sure, maybe 2.
Okay, awesome. All right, Mike, again, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you taking time, especially when you're not feeling well, and I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you, my brother. Have a good night.
You got it, bro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're only 20 minutes in, but because we are really loaded, heavy loaded on the back end of the show tonight, and I don't know if Ray Ray's in the house. Has there been a Ray Ray sighting? But we're going to go to Gunny a little early tonight, a little earlier than we normally do. He usually comes in about halfway through. But because of the way the show will flow in the second half, I really don't want to take any more breaks. So, Gunny, first of all, are you with us?
Sir, yes, sir.
And I'm trying to stall for Ray Ray, but I think she might not be here tonight. So we may not have any Marine lyrics, but thank God the guy who plays the song that I play sings them for us. So, Gunny, your pearls of wisdom whenever you're ready, bro.
Good evening, SFL Nation. Congratulations on show number 97.
Thank you, bro.
Shout out to the minor leaguers that just finished week number 7 of the SFLm season number 3. We have 26 new minor leaguers that have joined just in the month of May. The shout out to these gentlemen are Terrence Weary, strong safety; Kenny Slider, strong safety; Kay Shine, linebacker; Daniel Valentine, cornerback; Ronnie Renfro, free safety; Josh Ramsey, cornerback; Isaac Forrester, defensive tackle; Chris Britton, fullback; Chris Jive, free safety; Kenny Miller, free safety; Josh Slapp, linebacker; Jalil Usman, linebacker; Roy Vance, cornerback; Anthony Delano, tight end; Gene Struthers, quarterback; Matthew Holford, defensive end; Zeus Howard, linebacker; Mitchell Witters, offensive lineman; Stuart Zomelia, cornerback; Misha Oils, fullback; Lucian Corvin, linebacker; Tiger Santana, defensive tackle; Chance to Win, which I love that name, kicker; Declan O'Rourke, linebacker; Sonny J, kicker; and Nathaniel Diggs, which just joined May 27th. Congratulations to these 26 new joins. Welcome to the SFL community. Yesterday, we all enjoyed Happy Memorial Day. Just a reminder, I am a veteran. Yes, we celebrate that date on November the 11th. On November the 10th is my Marine Corps birthday. So on those days, I do appreciate when people come to me and say thank you for your service. But on days like yesterday, we pay honor and remembrance to the men and women that lost their lives on the battlefield. So that's why maybe I did not reach back out to you when you say thank you to my service, because it's not about me on yesterday. So I honor those family and friends that we know that we've lost on the battlefield. I'm sure a lot of the guys here in the military can probably speak on behalf of each and every one of us that have had that happen to some of our friends and family as well. Also, good luck to everyone. A happy month of June, and everyone have a great summer. With that, Dave, that is all.
Awesome, Gunny. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you clearing that up for everybody. And, because not everybody may know that. And so it's good to educate people. And don't mean that in a you're dumb way or, ignorant way. It's just sometimes people don't know what they don't know. That's all. So, all right. So we've got the main stuff out of the way before we go to talk about some other main stuff. What I'd like to talk about for the rest of the show, and by the way, we're going to have 2 topics on After Dark tonight. One right before After Dark and one for After Dark. I am encouraging those of you in the show chat to either come on the air, jump in the green room in my server, or you can give your comments and questions in the show chat, and I will try to get to as many as I can. But if you have a strong opinion on some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight, I encourage you to jump in the green room and jump on the air with us and talk to us. Here's the off-season SFL calendar as of, I think it was May 10th or something. I think Cam updated this. As we know, we saw the update that came out over the weekend. Some things have been pushed back while they're getting the automated system going. I think that's a smart move. You don't want, we don't want to really do the re-signings and the free agencies and all that stuff until the automated system is up and running. So basically, just be patient. It'll happen. We've got lots of time. The season doesn't start till the end of July, so we've got a lot of time, which gives us even more time to talk about things like SFL honors, who you think may not re-sign with the team, free agency, etc. I know we talked about this more in depth the last two shows, so I just want to cover it real quick because I think a couple of the panelists, obviously Harish wasn't here when we talked about it. I don't think Coach was here when we talked about it. Mike and Nate, I believe you were. So we're just going to kind of go through the panel quickly on this topic before we move on to some other things we're going to talk about tonight. Mike All, when you think about all of the free agents that we've talked about over the last couple weeks, we've talked about the Marcus Dunhills, we've talked about the the Johnny Picklers, etc., all the big names. We talked about Coach and Doug and them the other night. Who stands out from in free agency that we did not really notice or talk about, or maybe didn't get a chance to talk about last week as you look over all these people that are free agents?
So I know one that we didn't bring up, who I know is a solid guy. I know he brings a lot of commitment to his team, and that's Tony Roberto, the linebacker out of St. Louis.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see him go into free agency, and I mean, any team that lands him is going to get a solid team player right there.
That's a great one, and because we did talk about a bunch of linebackers, but you're right, I don't think his name came up. Nate, what about you? I know we didn't talk a lot about like maybe some fullbacks. I think we talked about the bigger names and the bigger positions, but anybody else pop up on your radar since we talked last week when it comes to free agents this season?
The one I think of right at the top of my head, besides myself, is Mike Ryan. He's done so much for a league already, as far as content and creating and stuff like that, and even doing a little bit of scouting for some minor league teams and so forth, and coaching, as well as major league. So he brings a lot to the table for anybody who would grab him this offseason.
That's another great one. Coach, we talked a lot about offense. We actually talked on last Tuesday, I think, or maybe the Thursday before that. And then last Tuesday, we caught up with some defensive players. You came up, Doug came up, along with, I think, what did we talk? We talked about Hugo a little bit. We talked about Tina Begin. As you look over this, I mean, let's be honest. This free agency has a ton of big names in this league, on both sides of the ball. Which ones stick out to you the most, and why for this season?
Well, I thought I liked what Bo said last week when he was talking about me. I was sitting here thinking, well, it's not me. You're getting two other guys, really good players. It's not so much about me. You're getting the best fullback in the league. You're getting Doug. Boundless Twinkie energy, but somebody that one of our former teammates that I haven't heard a lot about that we know plays very well, Al Lewis. I mean, Al Lewis is a guy. Yep. I'm curious where Al's going to land, and I hope it's not a team that I am going against next season, because he's tough.
He is.
And that's a big deal. Hugo's going to be tough as well. But yeah, gosh, there's I think. Duffy's still out there. Mm-hmm. There's just some really good players all over that are out there, and it depends on how they're used, of course, because we see guys outperform their numbers or underperform their contracts as well. But there's some guys out there. I want to know what happens with my boy Will Todd, because Todd's just the best. I think I know what's going to happen with him. That's going to be great. I mean, I'm watching it close just because I like it. I like this time of year. I hate it because it goes so freaking long. I want to be done with it. I want to be signed and be in my locker room. But at the same time, it's really fun to watch all of this stuff going on. So I'm watching everybody.
Yeah. Is there a Bo Martin Jr. signing sighting anywhere? Because he keeps throwing Coach into the Matrix. He's not even supposed to be around tonight, so interesting. You got I hear you, Coach, from Cam. I think Cam feels the same way. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to get the automated system going and get all this stuff done. Harish, I want to spend a little more time with you than I did with them because you haven't been here. And we've already talked about a lot of people. We've talked about Marcus Dunhill coming back, potentially being the first domino to fall, maybe Johnny Pickler after that. We talked about a lot of big names on both sides of the ball. But let me ask you this. When you look at certain teams, especially from what I considered, and a lot of people consider, and they should, the toughest division last season, the South, almost put all four teams in the playoffs. Houston missed it by one game. Houston loses some substantial defensive players. Lone Star loses some substantial defensive players. Mexico City loses some substantial players on the defensive side of the ball. What's going on in the South? Do you think it's just all coincidence? Is it a South thing? What do you make of all that?
I mean, it's really hard to say because things can vary between team to team. So I seriously doubt there's like a big division thing going on. But I mean, it's really hard to say. But I do feel like there is enough talent in free agency where all the teams that lost substantial defensive players are going to have enough to pick from. Like Coach talked about with Jeff Duffy. I could definitely see him going to the South. Let's see, another name that that has been quietly out there that nobody's really talked about much is Michael Sprouse, who has been at Jacksonville since I've come into the league. And when I saw that he was hitting free agency, I was shocked. I genuinely am curious to see where he's going to sign. That could be another good landing spot for him in the South, somewhere in the South Division. I don't know if there are any big corner positions down there, but he would definitely fill a major need for a team. Yeah, that's my bit on defense. There is one big name on offense I do want to talk about, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Chris Curtis. So there are a few big names dropping from Queen City, as mentioned, Jeff Duffy, and Eddie was screaming in the chat, Deezer Powell, which I didn't even know he was a free agent until today. That actually surprises me too. He spent a lot of time in New Orleans, dominated New Orleans with my current quarterback, Xander Gold. So whoever picks him up is going to be picking up a steal. Whoever picks up Chris Curtis is going to be picking up a steal.
Yep.
Chris Curtis has been with Queen City since I've been in the league as well. So there are a lot of guys that are hitting free agency that have been with their teams for a long time. And I'm very curious to see where they're going to go. And even one from my own team, Chris Colon, he also hit free agency too.
Yeah. What do you make of this? What's your take on what we talked about last week with Marcus Dunhill really, to me, being the clear top name in this free agency because he's coming back, because he was a general manager before, because he worked for the league for the last couple seasons. What do you make of him coming back, and where do you think he might land?
There are a lot of good quarterback spots open. There is one spot that stands out to me, and that would be the Jacksonville Kings. Christian Christensen was an MVP with the Jacksonville Kings. Marcus Dunhill was an MVP with the Atlanta Swarm. I could totally see it working out that way. It would not surprise me the slightest. It would be a huge pickup for Jacksonville. There's also Denver, which is a huge open spot,
Yeah.
which is another very attractive place for Marcus. I mean, whoever picks him up is going to be getting an MVP caliber player. But one thing that does need to be noted is regression. He is
Right.
going to lose a bit of value wherever he goes. But I think he's been out, 2 seasons now, so that wouldn't be a horrible loss of value. Still some loss of value, but I don't think it's going to send him back too far.
I think we figured out last show, some people in the chat figured out he'd be silver. I think maybe base silver, something like that. So he'd absolutely need to build up. But he offered so much off the field that it's, more than worth it, to wait a season or so to help him get, his value built back up. Let's play the rumor mill for a moment. I'm going to go to Coach next. let's take what Harish said, and let's say Marcus Dunhill does go to Jacksonville or Denver. Where does that put Johnny Pickler as far as quarterbacks? Who I think would be the next free agent off the board as far as quarterbacks go?
I think Johnny's spoken for. I think he's going to London. It's just to put it in the bank. It's a done deal. He's going to London.
Okay. And then Nate, let's
Do expand on that?
do you want to expand
That was
on that?
rather quick. No,
I was
no,
like,
no.
I mean, I don't know. I want to make sure nobody gets in trouble on this show. I want to talk about stuff, but I want to make sure nobody gets in trouble either. Why don't you expand a little bit, Coach, and tell us why you think that's a done deal?
He and Chad are tight. It's a need. It just, I mean, was joking about expanding just because I'm so quickly London, done deal, moving on,
Right.
It just he and Chad are tight, and they're friends outside of the league. I just think that's the move. I think that's the fit.
Okay. Nate,
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
honestly, this is not a jab. Not everybody wants Johnny, so they just don't want the drama. They don't want they just so.
I get it. No,
Options are more limited.
I get it. Not every quarterback's for every team. Not every personality's for every team. I totally get it. Nate, staying with quarterbacks for a second. E.T. King becomes available in Houston. He's a free agent now. Does that bid well for the return of oh my gosh, his name just went out of my head. Somebody help me. The old
Marcus
Houston
Dunhill.
quarterback. No, the old Houston quarterback. Kentez.
Tez,
Yeah, for Kentez. Do you think that was probably it was E.T. King just a placeholder last season anyway because of what happened with Kentez and he was always coming back? Thank you everyone in the chat as well.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see where ET goes from here. Also, like we've all been saying, it's going to be a very busy and productive off season, and a lot of, dancing around the chairs, so to speak, with different teams, trying to figure out where all these quarterbacks are going to go. So once these free agents land their spots, then we'll start to get a clearer picture of where some of these teams might be looking for some minor league players in the future.
Yeah, Nate, I'm gonna turn you up a little bit. You're a little soft on that one for some reason. Michael, let's stick with quarterbacks on this round of questioning. We talked about on this show that Portland could very well be the next Fort Worth. We've talked about it a couple times. Of course, Cam caught on to that, right? He doesn't listen to anything else I say, just that kind of thing. We've talked about Portland potentially being the next Fort Worth next season. A lot of momentum, an amazing running back, one of the best running backs in the league, a great defense. Matt South didn't play well. Matt South is now a free agent. Who do you see going to Portland to help put them over the hump and potentially make them the next Toros?
That's a good one. I think because Portland is a team that drafts really well. I think they're going to dig into the draft on this one. It's hard to say exactly which quarterback they'll go with. My thought is maybe Joseph Green out of San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be OJ Bruin out of Memphis. But I think they're going to hit the draft for this. I don't think they're going to look free agent. I think they're going to hit the draft.
Okay. Here's something interesting, Harish. As I'm looking through this list, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have access to the same list I do. There are no free agent running backs. Zero. As of the list I'm looking at right now. But I see a ton of wide receivers. A lot of big names, right? You got Jacob McCall, Giacomo Jones, Jeff Como, Mike St. Green, Ken Goss. Ken Goss is retiring. A lot of these guys are retiring. Sorry. Mike St. Green, Saren Storm, Chris Curtis, Shea Carroll. You mentioned Chris Curtis earlier. Here's the interesting thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More than half of them are retiring. The other half are going into free agency. But not a single running back on the board at all. So teams that may need a running back, it looks, if you look at the list, it looks like only Denver as of right now, right? So Denver doesn't have any free agents they're going to have to draft. So let's say they draft that. If you move on to the tight ends and wide receivers, you got the Will Todd, you got the Ziggy Hronik, and you've got Stephen McMichaels on the tight end. But as far as people catching the ball on the offensive side, it's kind of limited. So who do you see as the biggest name other than Curtis that we talked about before between the wide receivers and tight ends, and where do you think they might go?
I've definitely Curtis was probably my biggest one. Another good one that is underrated, I would say, is Jay Hayden is on that list. He was a tight end too.
He is right there. I didn't see him, right?
Yeah, so he's going to be moving on. It looks like he wants to look for a tight end one or a wide receiver spot. That's another good name out there. MSG is still out there, which I think that's going to be a good pickup for whoever gets him. Developed by Jacksonville, somebody's going to get a good pick out of him. Jacob McCall was wide receiver 3 in Arizona. I think he'll find a better. I remember he left Tulsa looking for a 1 or 2 spot, and then Eddie Gage convinced him that he could be a wide receiver 3 in Arizona, and he did it for a few seasons, and he did a pretty good job of it. One of the biggest names out there, I would also say, would be Will Todd. He was mentioned before. I've looked at Will Todd's build. He's got an excellent build. So whoever's got him has got a solid tight end one.
What do you think about? Let me go back down there. What do you make of all these wide receivers retiring? Now, granted, some of them are coming from Jacksonville and Denver, the two teams that are retiring the most players anyway. But I see a bunch of other names on there too. A Jeff Como, a Cale Barrett, those kind of guys. A lot of retirees this season. I don't know if it's more than normal. Cam and I had a short chat, and I think he mentioned this on the last show. It seems to be bigger names rather than more people. But what do you make of the bigger names being the retirees, especially in Denver and Jacksonville of all places?
With Jacksonville, it was something I kind of expected sooner rather than later, given how long Christensen has been in the league, and I know him and Ken Gossett are pretty tight. So them retiring at the same time really didn't surprise me. Jeff Como is a guy who's been kind of in and out. I know he was out for a season before Florida brought him back. So those are some names out there that I kind of expected. Jeremy Vega also hinted at Josh Miller retiring at some point along with a lot of his guys. It seems like Jeremy wants to hand the reins down to his guy, Adam Wiseman, and give him his own chance to build the squad, and I completely respect it. Jeremy has proven himself as a coach and as an owner, and he wants to mentor somebody else. So it looks like he's going to get his own chance to build the squad from down up. And with having those guys, I mean, Josh Miller, I think, was in the league when they were the Vaqueros. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, those are. I kind of expected those two teams to have a lot of retirements, but I don't think they're going to have too far a setback. I mean, how bad can a team run by Jeremy Vega actually be?
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Coach, let's switch to the defensive side of the ball real quick. We'll finish up with Nate and Mike after you, and then we'll move on to a new topic. On the defensive side of the ball, we saw the list from Twin Screw earlier in the show, and there was 15, 16, maybe 20 linebackers on that list. Plus, you've got maybe a half a dozen of free agent linebackers like the likes of DJ Majesty, Tony Roberto, who we talked about earlier, Carson Miller, Day Drury, yourself. I mean, is there going to be enough room for all these free agent and rookie linebackers in the league this season?
Probably not for the rookies, which is unfortunate because there are a lot of really quality guys in that rookie class. I mean, I haven't looked exactly at the numbers, but I think a couple of those guys, and then you're going to have some two-season monsters in the SFLm next season,
right?
Because there's some great prospects in that rookie linebacker class, but I don't think there's room for all of them.
Twin Screw just put in the chat 21 linebackers in the SFL minor league, and I think another 6 or so in free agency. You're talking almost 30 linebackers available for this season.
Yeah. And most teams are only running 2 linebackers. There's a couple running 3. I'm curious if Carolina's going to run 4 again. Love that experiment, by the way. Yeah, it's not. They're just not. I don't think there's enough room for all those guys.
Yeah, and I was just actually looking at the LBs. I just noticed right here. You also have it looks like Finley James, Nolan Price, Keenan Samuels, and J Mart on the outside linebacker. So it's over 30. Yeah, it's gonna be over 30. Do you see, real quick, last question, I move to Nate. Do you see any way that maybe some of these free agents don't get picked up and some rookies take their spots, or you think all the free agents will get picked up first and then rookies will get what's left over?
Well, I'd have to dive in. I'd have to dive in and look at the teams that are looking. You look at a guy like I think. Did you say Sean Moore? I think he's a free agent. You look at a guy like Sean Moore. People are going to want Sean Moore. It depends on the team. Some of those linebackers that are free agents don't have quite as good a build as maybe a couple of the rookies coming out. Then you could see that happen. Not every team is like that. As we all know, a lot of teams like to have a relationship with the player, and the player matters a little bit more than the build. Right. So it's just what comes down. I don't know. I'd have to dive in pretty deep to speculate with any intelligence on that. It's possible, though. It's certainly possible. There's enough out there, and if there's a rookie with a better build, yeah, they might bump somebody.
Nate, I'm going to move to defensive backfield since that's where you're at. I'm going to give you a whole list of names, and I want you to tell me who stands out to you, other than yourself, of top defensive backfield player on the board, or on the free agent board. So Doug Day is there, although Doug could very well move back to linebacker too. You never know. Barry Barkley, Alex Bond, Anthony Wyo, Marquise Reed, Peanut Say, Jack Napier, Michael Sprouse, Rain Rowe, Kai Cash, and the long arm of the law. I think I hit all the ones that are actually available, not retiring. If I missed anybody, go ahead and correct me in the chat. But as I say all that, again, a lot of free agents in every position, a lot of DBs. What name sticks out to you the most that you think might be the most coveted defensive back free agent?
Anthony Wyo for sure. I mean, he's one of those players that gave other opposing offensive nightmares last year. Just multiple interception games from him in a lot of games last year. I think when he played against us, he had at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 interceptions against us. It was nuts the way he was getting to the ball, no matter where it was thrown to. So yeah, any team that would pick him up would definitely benefit from his play. A second name, just off the top of my head, at the very end, where you said Rogar Law is also on the list.
Potential defensive rookie of the year, yeah.
Right. He had a stellar year last year as a rookie, and any team that picks him up is also going to be benefited from that.
Last question for free agency, Mike. Just like with Nate, I'm going to stick to your position. Let's talk about the defensive line. Same question to you. Chris Cologne is on this list. We got Womack, we got Chris Joseph, we got Ryan Ray, we've got Rhett Sawyer, Jeff Duffy, Mike Baker, we got A.G. Pennypacker, Hugo Reynosa, Al Lewis, Tina Begin. You know what? Now the more I'm thinking of, the defensive line might have the biggest names out of everybody. Of all those names, who stands out to you as the most coveted free agent on the defensive line?
Well, I mean, there's one already for sure Hall of Famer in my eyes, and that's Jeff Duffy. Now, let's say hypothetically some GM signed him to a team that's purple and gold that resides in Florida. Could you imagine? Could you imagine a team with 3 Hall of Fame defensive linemen coming at you? That would be a hardcore defense right there. So yeah, I think Jeff Duffy's the biggest name on the defensive line right now.
I'm sorry, real quick to cut you off, Mike, but apparently XF Sphinx, we all know who that is. Cameron Curtis. I can't even count how many that is, but he just gave a whole bunch of Tier 1 subs to Access Live. So thank you for that, bro. Appreciate you a lot. Love having you in the chat. And just so you know, that just bumped you to number 1 in gift subscriptions. He has now given out 51, passing Gunny, who has given out 41. You just passed him with all of that. So, attaboy, thank you for that. Really appreciate the love and the support on here. Oh, it's 25. Thank you, guys. 25. Wow. Big baller. Look at Hugo. Exactly. Big baller. Real quick, and I want to make this part a little quick. We beat this horse the other night pretty bad. But SFL honors. Mike, we talked about it last week. I'm just going to start back with you and run through the whole panel real quick. Anybody that last week we talked about, you were on one of the shows.
Yep.
When it comes to SFL honors, anybody stand out that we didn't talk about? Or we really talked a lot about McChesney and the quarterbacks, running backs, things like that. But anything stand out that we didn't get to last week that you wanted to mention?
Well, we didn't talk about certain things that we didn't fully know about, but I would like to point out that Cam apparently has it out for one guy. He doesn't want him to win. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Mexico defensive tackle Dan Fritz. Who the heck is Dan Fritz? I know a Dan Fritz. I don't know a Dan Fritz, Cam.
Oh, look at Gunny's getting competitive. Sorry, Gunny wants that lead back. Attaboy. Look at these guys going at it. Attaboy, Gunny. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
But I don't know if Derwin Nuevo was mentioned last week, but he had a great season.
I don't think he was.
He did really well, and he's up there for Defensive Player of the Year. And I don't know if he gets it, but he definitely deserves to be on that list.
Nate, what about you? I know you were here also last week, so anybody we didn't get to that you wanted to mention?
No, not really. I mean, we beat the bush pretty hard on this MVP race. I think it's going to be Jared McChesney's year to win the whole thing. One name I'm really disappointed that we don't hear as much. I don't think is even on the list this year. Is my own wife Kendra, but she had a stellar season this year, but she kind of fell off towards the end.
Wide receiver was tough this year, though, right? I mean,
it was. So I'd like to see either Hands or one of the other wide receivers get it, just for that reason.
Coach, you weren't here last week, so I want to give you a little more time. I don't know if you caught the shows where we talked about the SFL honors. Which, by the way, if Cam is still listening, if you can throw in the chat real quick, because I don't want to pull up another graphic, the date that we have to vote to. I think it's the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. June 4th. SFL honors. When does the voting stop? June 4th. Coach, as you look at, it's today, or maybe it's announced on the 4th. It's freaking today. It's not just today. It's freaking today. All right, so you better get your votes in. Earlier, I saw Cam saying that some votes were only like between 1 and 5 vote difference in a lot of categories. So get your votes out there. Start voting for peeps that you want to win. Coach, apparently we're down to the gun. We only got a few hours left of voting. So who do you think, where do you feel in your heart who should win what the most?
I think McChesney's a slam dunk MVP. Just for the totality of the season that he had. One can make an argument for some of those other guys, but McChesney was steady all season long. He was unstoppable all season long. Only a couple of teams held him under 100 even, and he still scored and made a difference in those games. So to me, that's the slam dunk there. That's the one that's above all the others. The only other thing that I'm kind of like, I kind of thought Bob Funk should have been in the conversation, the defensive side. He didn't even get nominated. But I didn't really realize that. It was Slim that pointed that out to me, and I got to looking at the numbers. I was like, oh yeah, he should have been in the conversation at least.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good candidates there, so that one I can see that being up in the air.
Well, I'm sure when I have Cam back on the show here in a couple weeks, we can ask him, about the hair splitting. I mean, I'm sure when it comes down to nominees, you're splitting hairs. At that point with
Yeah.
so many great performers this season. Last word goes to you, Harish. SFL honors. Obviously, I think everybody thinks Jared McChesney should win the MVP. But what about maybe some other categories that you feel should be maybe no-brainers, even though we have a lot of talent in every single category?
As far as slam dunkers, I don't know if there really is another slam dunk. I think the rest of them are pretty close. Like, I mean, a graphic you put up earlier, about offensive player of the year, there were pretty close numbers between Fennig, Cochran, and Christensen.
Mm.
My pick for offensive player of the year would be Ron Cochran, just purely based on his consistency throughout the entire season. I mean, if you really look at it, when the ball was in his hands, he did win games. I will give you Donnie Hands a shout out for you, Eddie. I think he did.
Only if you put it in all caps, though.
Only if he puts it in all caps. Good grief! I hear Eddie.
Right? I can hear him typing, probably.
I can hear him.
Yeah,
Definitely, I definitely could see an argument for Donnie Hands. He did have a great year. Offensive Rookie of the Year is a really close one. I thought Kevin Say was phenomenal, and Cameron Curtis was phenomenal. I mean, for the year the Fort Worth Toros had overall was really good.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was because of Cameron Curtis, but also a lot of it was just overall team play. So those are some of my thoughts.
Yeah, Ezekiel got a lot of love on this show last week, obviously, for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hey, yo. And what do you think about the defensive rookies, though? The long arm of the law, who we like to talk about, he's in the crowd a lot here. He had a phenomenal year for the rookies. Anybody else on that side of the ball for defensive rookie of the year stand out to you?
Not. I mean, the other names on here, they were pretty good. Dan Fritz.
Look at Mike shake his head.
Not gonna lie, I really didn't notice it the first time.
Well,
it went right over my head.
You're going through the list real quick. Yeah, you don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the list, I mean, Dan, it's Tritz, right? So I don't look stupid.
It's Tritz, yeah.
It's Tritz, okay. Okay, I guess I kind of did make myself look stupid anyways. But he did have a pretty good year. But I think it would be Router Law for sure for there.
Yeah, and in the last one, real quick, I also like for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm having a hard time with names tonight. Baltimore.
Troy Loshaw.
For me, I think he's kind of hands down for me personally. But who else do you think is in the argument for Defensive Player of the Year?
A name that stands out to me is Mark Mello.
Oh, Mark, yeah. Led the league in sacks.
And this time it's not because Eddie is shouting it.
Mark Mello, bro.
It's not because Eddie is shouting in my ears about it. No, he led the league in sacks. He's a very strong candidate for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, the bottom line is what Cam said earlier in the show chat is 100% accurate, right? They're all, except for MVP, and I agree with all the panel, except for MVP, I think that every single category is super close. So I think
there's an argument for a lot of candidates on all of these categories.
There is. So I don't know if Cam will tell us afterwards, but I'd like to see how many people won by single-digit votes or 5 or less, or even a single vote once it's all over. I bet it's going to be a lot. So, and that's just a testament to how great this season was, how competitive it was with everybody, and how many great players we had. Cam just said there's going to be at least 6 with less than 10 vote difference. That's crazy with this many people in the league. So, all right. So there's kind of an SFL honors free agency, another wrap up. We won't be talking about that anymore. We've talked about it for 3 shows, so that's it. We have beat that horse to death. It is dead. It is gone. 168 votes cast so far in SFL honors. according to Cam. So if you have not voted, you have until, I'm guessing, midnight Eastern, midnight Central. So you only have like maybe 2 or 3 more hours to get your votes in for SFL Honors. Let's move on to some other content creators real quick. I want to do shout outs to Ashley Jackson, her podcast. I DM'd her today. Ashley, you didn't respond to me. Check your DMs. She usually releases on Wednesdays in the off season, so I'm assuming tomorrow 6 o'clock will be her next episode. Swole says we have till 11:59. Is that Eastern or Central, Swole? So check out Ashley tomorrow. Coach, you want to give us a shout out real quick? You drop anything else this week? I think you dropped something this weekend. I saw a what do you call it? An announcement or something for it, but then when I went to look for it, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, all I did this weekend, I do San Jose locker room chats, so just for the San Jose players, and that's probably what you saw over the weekend.
Okay.
If you're following me on Anchor or Spotify or something, you probably would have seen
Twitter
it, but I didn't.
And whatever, right?
Yeah. I don't care if people hear them. It's fine. There's no secrets in there, but I just don't. That's not a league-wide thing. I won't be. Slyn and I won't be doing something this week. He's got a vacation going on, and apparently his girlfriend's more important than I am.
What the hell?
Whatever.
Wrong with that guy?
I know.
Tell him get his priorities straight.
He's young. He hasn't been broken yet. But I've got a short little thing that I'm going to release Thursday.
Thursday,
So
okay.
All
right, so AJ on Wednesday, Coach on Thursday, and then last night, Nelson has 2 shows a week, Mondays and Fridays. He had a show last night, and he'll drop another one on Friday. So the next 3 nights, you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You've got AJ on Wednesday, Coach probably sometime during the day on Thursday, Access Live obviously Thursday night, and then Nelson again on Friday night. I agree with you, Harish. Nelson's show is absolutely underrated. If you haven't caught it, definitely catch it. I believe he begins at 9:50 Eastern, so 10 minutes to 10 Eastern time on Friday nights. Also, I want to share my upcoming schedule with you because I didn't have a show last Thursday. I moved some things around. Tonight's episode 97. On Thursdays, we'll have those Axes nominees. I'm finishing up the list of nominees as we speak. We will go over those on Thursday. Then next week, I'm taking my birthday week off, so I will not be here, and I will not be on the air. You will not see me at the tees. Actually, you might see me at the tees, but a whole different kind of tees. And then we'll come back on Tuesday the 15th. That's when voting will end. So we will open voting on Thursday night the 3rd. You'll have 12 days to vote. On Tuesday will be the last day. We'll wrap them up. We'll count them all up, get everything ready on Wednesday. For Thursday's show on the 17th, which will be my 100th show here on Access Live, where we will have the Axes Awards. I've asked certain people to come on to announce some of them. I plan on trying to have more panelists. I'm going to see if I can make room for more cameras on this screen. We're going to have a lot going on that 100th show. A lot of peeps, a lot of party peeps, a lot of guests, a lot of panelists, a lot of announcers, the whole 9 yards. So what are you saying, Nate? I guess I'll listen Thursday night on my birthday night. Hey, Nate, happy birthday. You're welcome, buddy. And then that brings me to something that was announced earlier today, and this is one of the things I want to talk about. I want to spend the rest of the show on this and one other topic as we go into After Dark in a moment. I don't know how many of you are in Tyler's NETMA show server, but he posted something in there today, and I'm going to read it real quick for everybody, and then I want to go to the panel and I want to discuss a few things. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you have some strong feelings about what we're about to talk about now or the next topic, please either put it in the show chat. Feel free to jump into the green room, or I believe we even have an After Dark waiting room now or something that Eagle created. Then, oh, wait, Nate, when's your birthday? The 9th? Or which day? Which day's yours?
Maybe grab my damn phone and look at you. What the fuck?
Hey, hey, we're not on After Dark yet. Damn.
Yeah, we are. We are now.
I guess apparently we're moving into After Dark quickly.
No. June 3rd. June 3rd is my birthday, so apparently Cam and I share a birthday on June 3rd.
Gotcha. Hold on. I was a little slow on this, bro, but I got to do it anyway just because you dropped an F-bomb. All right. So June 3rd is you. I'm June 6th. I think somebody's June 9th. I heard somebody else is June 9th. I don't know who it was. So apparently we got a lot of June birthday. Cam, is Cam saying Bullet is June 9th? Oh no, Bullet's June 3rd. Holy smokes.
Yeah, we got three of us now on June 3rd because it's me, Bullet, and Cam.
Swole is June 10th. Dude, us Geminis, we crush it. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. Wow. All right. Well, happy birthday to everybody in June, especially if your birthday is next week and I'm not around to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. In the meantime, let me read this statement from Tyler that he put out to everyone that is in his show server today. He said, "Hey, everyone. Unfortunately, NETMA will be taking an indefinite leave of absence from the airways due to personal matters. I personally feel that I have stretched myself too thin trying to do so many different things that the quality of work I have put out in all facets of not just my content here on the show, but in everything I do has been less than my standard that I have set for myself. It has reflected in not just the numbers, but how I feel I am perceived in the league. I don't want to put anything less than quality content, and I humbly apologize for the lack of depth and originality over the past several weeks. I've spoken to Kendra personally, thanked her for all she has done for the show and the effort that she's put into the show. When the show hopefully gets back up and running, she will remain as co-host. I want to thank you viewers for supporting NETMA over the past half year, through the good and rough times, through the 2-10 predictions to the power rankings. Thank you. If you ever want to talk SFL or anything else, please feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to talk with you. So until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I want to talk about. This struck a chord with me today. And the sentence that struck a chord with me the most, and I want to make sure, hold on, I want to get this set up in case anybody wants to jump on the air. The line that struck a chord with me the most is where he says, "But how I feel I am perceived in the league." Now, we all know, he did his free agent thing the other day, which is fine. It is what it is. I actually applaud the rule changes that Cam and the league have made recently as far as announcing where you're going to go if you're returning to your team and what have you. I even if I don't agree with the way somebody does something, I agree with their right to do it, right? The mere fact that Tyler feels like, as a content creator in this league, feels that way, it concerns me. And so what I want to ask you guys tonight in the chat, and I want the panelists as well, all the content creators of this league do this out of the kindness of their heart. They do it with their free time. They take time away from their families, their children, their jobs probably sometimes, to do this content for the league. So my question to you is, and I'm not saying let's not criticize people. If I come on here and I do a piece of shit show, then it's a piece of shit show. And I've done a couple of those where I've just been all over the place and, I wasn't in the zone, and it happens. I get that. But let's be honest, nobody is producing shit content in this league. It's all good content. It's all different, right? Everybody has their niche. Ashley has her niche. Coach has his. Tyler, even, Slyn with all the written content. Everybody has their different niche. None of it is shit content. So is it fair for people to shit all over people's efforts in the content creation area? And, you probably already know how I feel. I've already gone at it with several people about this. I just went at it with somebody recently in Gen Chat about it. Mike, I'm going to start with you. Especially since people are doing this out of the kindness of their heart and their free time and, like I said, taking time away from their families and jobs and kids and whatever else. Where is the line between fair criticism and just shitting all over someone's work?
It's a line that's not very far back from the front of the group here, Dave. Personally myself, during the season, I do a ton of scouting for our scout team. I edit articles for the content team. I've been a panelist on your show. I do a lot to help out, and I don't do it for my credit. I do it to encourage content creators. I do it to help out. I yeah, Tyler made a goofy 2-10 prediction, and yeah, he should be ribbed for that.
Right.
But he shouldn't be shit on. We on your panel, you specifically, Dave, shouldn't be shit on for anything you do. Ashley does a great job. She shouldn't be shat on. Neither should Nelson. None of the people that write articles for the league, they're all doing it for not only their enjoyment, but for hopefully everybody else's enjoyment. If you don't enjoy them, that's fine. If you don't enjoy a show, you don't enjoy an article, you don't have to partake.
Right.
And you can certainly say, "Look, I'm not a fan," but don't get down on them just because it wasn't exactly what you wanted. Like Mike Twinscrew, he does his rankings, and Sim Scouts, they all do their mock drafts and all that. That's just for fun that they do on their own time, just to get people talking. You shouldn't give them crap because, oh, I'm the 9th rated defensive end
Right.
or whatever. It's not it's not the be all end all. It's something that's done for enjoyment, to have fun, and that's what we're all here for, to have fun, Dave. Not to crap on the next guy.
Exactly. I agree. Nate, before I get to you, I want to read a couple things in the chat. Good thing. Hey, look at that. Cam said Tyler got a ton of votes for community ambassador this go around. Good. I believe that he should be the community ambassador. I don't think anybody's done what he's done over the last off season and this season. Bullet Beletsky, Tyler should be applauded for putting himself out there. Not easy to put your opinions out there, knowing you can't always please everyone. Nothing wrong with different opinions, healthy debate. Some of the nastiness is uncalled for, childish. And then it looks like Cam has something here. If anyone has a problem with a content creator, you have three choices. 1, join in and make current content better. 2, don't watch what you don't like. Or 3, do your own thing and contribute in a new, fresh way. Completely agree with you. Nate, let me get your take on the same question I asked Mike. Where's the line between, and listen, I don't mind the criticism, and people give me crap all the time, and most of it is warranted. I mess up something on the show and people give me shit about it. That's not the kind of stuff I'm talking about, because that's easygoing stuff. I'm talking about people saying, somebody's show is a piece of shit, or it's not good for the league, or why are they even doing, like, those kind of comments, Nate. So is that where the line is, or do you have a different take on that?
That's definitely where the line is, I think. Look, I'm going to get really personal here for a second because, Kendra was a part of that show as well.
Right.
Not only was Tyler catching flack for some of the things that were being said on that show, Kendra was also getting messages from other people and players from this league as well about some of the things that she was saying on the show. She and Tyler both were giving their opinions on subjects that they thought they had the right to give on that show, and I'll agree that they had a right to give that opinion. But for people to go out of their way and tell them that they're dead wrong on what they're saying and they shouldn't have said it in the first place on their show, that's distasteful. It's really distasteful, and the fact that a few people want to ruin it for everybody else in the SFL on creating content is really sad. And I'll say this too, in addition, I've had more than 2 or 3 people come to me and ask if I'll be replacing Tyler, and me and Kendra can continue doing NETMA on our own. That's not my decision to make. That was Tyler and Kendra's show to begin with. So respectfully, I'm going to say not going to be continuing that in that form, just because it wasn't my show to begin with, and I don't think that'd be right for me to step in and continue that when it was theirs.
Yeah, I agree that people can have a difference of opinion. And listen, if I say something wrong on a show, or if Tyler says something wrong on a show, of course you can call us out, but you don't have to be dicks about it, right? And
Right.
Listen, some people just have thicker skin than others too. I mean, shit, I'll debate some rookie in Gen Chat for 2.5 hours over something that at the end of the day probably doesn't matter. But not everybody's built like that, right, Coach? And Coach, to Nate's point, and I'm sorry, Tyler is going to be joining us here in a few minutes. To Nate's point, it's always a few bad apples, right? That ruin it for the rest of us.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's definitely true. That's true in almost any situation you face. It's not usually the majority that screws it up for you. I'm sorry. Did you have another?
No. Go ahead. I think you know where we're going. This. Just speak your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got three little points I want to make. Is one, kudos to Kyler for making a decision that he felt like he needed to make. It felt like he was stretched too thin.
Right.
Something had to give for a little bit. That's fine. I no problem there. Two, if I'm going to get in front of a mic or camera, God help us, and opinion out there, it goes with the territory. I'm going to take some heat if I say anything at all that's controversial. And I started my show because I wanted to start talking about things that I didn't think were getting talked about. I saw Crazy 8 said they gave me crap all season. A prediction about St. Louis, and now it was good natured. They were cool about it, and it was fun. So that's fine. The worst that I've gotten, I've had a couple of owners come after me. They didn't like my take when all the stuff with Shan came down.
Right. Same.
Yeah. Well, and some of the flack we get, some of the more hateful stuff comes from a specific group of owners, and we all know that. It's part of the deal. But again, like I say, if I'm going to get in front of a mic and talk about this stuff, it's part of the
right.
thing.
Right. And listen, when we're talking about a bigger issue like that, that's kind of apples and oranges anyway, right? If we're gonna,
a little bit.
Like my show with Shan and Damon, I took a lot of criticism, and it's okay because I knew it was going to be the type of show. What Tyler's done on his show does not reach that level of blowback, if you will.
Well, and I'll say my last point is a quote from one of my favorite movies. It's a problem you think we need to explain ourselves.
Right.
Don't.
Right.
To anyone. And Tyler doesn't need to explain his 2-10 prediction. He doesn't need to explain his announcement. That's fine. And same for all of us. You're never going to much out of me if you come at me expecting me to explain something or walk it back. Now, if I find out I gave false or incorrect information, I'm going to do a retraction. I'm going to do all of that stuff. And I have thought I had information, shared it, found out I didn't have the whole picture, fixed it. I get that it can be exhausting, and probably because I just take a break once in a while and I'm not very consistent with my show. I think, for you to do your show every 2 times a week, for Tyler to do his show like he does, for AJ to do hers, Nelson, heck, when Nelson was hurt, he had people filling in. I mean, he kept it going. If those guys are getting a lot of flack, then I hope those guys doing that aren't going to the convention because I'm going to spit in their drink. It's just dumb, right? But
Wait, let me throw something out there real quick, Coach. Some people are chiming in here, and I don't want to lose track of the chat. I think it's Hubba Breezy. Hubba said, if you're going to publicly express your opinion, you have to be prepared for some of the things you say. And I agree. He says, I've had problems with our league media and confronted them about it. Just stay neighborly. Right. And listen, I've had to do a couple apologies on air as well where I've messed up information and whatever. It happens. I mean, nobody knows everything about everything, right? It's not everybody's 100% right all the time. Bob Funk said, I don't agree with everything said in all the content, but I still love it. You content creators make this league so much more fun. Appreciate that. And then Crazy 8's 2000, which is Dwayne. Is Tyler doing this because of other people not liking what he does? Then that's the wrong reason. And I don't think, here's the thing, I don't want to, Cam said now he's got to get security, Coach. Thanks a lot. No, Dwayne. Let me rephrase. So there's several reasons why Tyler is taking a break, and he'll explain them to us in just a few minutes. As soon as I go to Harish, I'm going to go to Tyler, so he can kind of give us some background on that. But that's the one thing that stuck out to me in his statement. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So there are other reasons as well. Harish, after hearing what everybody else said, after reading what Tyler wrote, what's your take on? And again, Cam has said a couple times, it's a lot like the NBA. You can say things, whatever, just don't throw things. I don't know what the equivalent of throwing things would be in our league exactly. But at the end of the day, I want to reiterate, content creators do this out of their free time. They do it because they love the SFL. They love this product. They want to be a bigger part of it. So where's the line, and how do you feel about that line being crossed when it's crossed?
Okay, so I will preface this with I may not always watch all the content, or I may not even. I think I respect everybody for doing what they do, especially you. I respect Tyler for definitely putting himself out there when he did. Yeah, there were a few predictions that were wacky here or there, but I mean, I've probably said a thing or two about it publicly. Hopefully I didn't say anything out of line. If I did, Tyler, I do apologize. I tend to talk a lot. People know I'm like that, but where the line is one when things get personal. It from what Nate was saying about which I didn't know this was happening about people like you guys were getting hateful DMs. I guess I don't know the extent of it, so I can't really speak too much on it. So when it gets to that point, it probably does get way too much, and I definitely am not I'm not a guy who's gonna I don't think it's cool. And like you said, you guys do this with your free time, so I definitely appreciate all the content you guys put out there.
I think, first of all, I got to read this really funny thing from Benji. He says, the views and opinions expressed in this shitty show are those of these shitty authors and do not necessarily represent your supremely amazing and incredibly knowledgeable opinions or the policies and position of your mother. Of your mother would probably be upset with you or contributing negatively to the Simulation Football League. That's hilarious. That is like the quote of the night. Oh, look at Cam right after my favorite post. I agree. That's hilarious. And then now you got more people chaining their drinks to their armchairs and things like that now, Coach. Thanks a lot for that. Harish, yeah, so my understanding is there have been some owners and some GMs and even just players of other teams that have said some pretty nasty things to some content creators in DMs, and I believe even one time in a personal voice chat. And again, we're not here to sling mud. We don't need to do an investigation about it. It's not that big of a deal. What we're trying to say here is basically, and I said
there's a way to express it.
Right, there is.
There's an appropriate way to express it. There's an inappropriate way to express it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, since he's only got about 10 minutes till he's got to go back to work defending our country, I do want to bring the man of this topic in, and then we are going to move on to our next topic. Tyler Falk is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler, how you doing tonight, bro? You hanging in there?
I'm hanging in there, Dave. Hey, everybody. Hey, party people. Hey, panel. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you, bro. I assumed you were listening to the show. Wanted to chime in, kind of give your side. I did just a second ago make sure I said, that wasn't the only reason that you're probably stepping down, but there's, several other reasons that you listed in that statement. But I just want to give you the floor to say whatever you wanted to come on to say.
Yeah, I've been listening a little bit to your show, Dave, and again, everybody that creates content for the SFL is an amazing person, and we wouldn't be this type of league without any of us. So hats off to everybody. I wanted to just clarify a few things. I know, Coach, you said I don't have to explain myself, but I feel transparency is the best policy in as far as how I conduct my business. So what I will say is, I've received a few different, direct messages from a few different people. Again, not going to say names because that'd be, not the right thing to do. But this decision to suspend operations for, a little bit, NETMA will return. NETMA's not going away forever, but the whole point of we taking a break from the show is because when I first created NETMA, I wanted it to evolve into, a show that, I could be proud of. Right now, I'm not proud of the show, and I have a lot of negative thoughts and feelings, internally. either saying, you're your own worst critic. And right now I'm being pretty hard on myself, and I feel I've been lazy and not been able to create, quality content for everybody in the league, and maybe people outside the league. And I want to take some time and redevelop my pitch, my platform, how I conduct myself, because right now I don't like how I'm presenting this my content, and it's just something that I've told myself, you know what, I've got to fix it. We've got to go ahead and just rethink things and refocus on things. And I think that's more the issue, more than the negative comments. And to say I haven't gotten those would be a flat out lie, but it's more so, internal rather than external that has made this decision.
Okay, that's good to hear. Real quick, yeah, Cam, I think we all agree with that. And that's why we're talking about where's the line. He called me mean, hurt my feelings. It's not a valid complaint. Of course not. If I didn't do my show because somebody hurt my feelings, I mean, that's not. I don't think that's what we're talking about. But I do want to reiterate, and this goes for not just content creators. This goes for anybody in the league anywhere. If anyone feels they're being personally harassed by anyone in this league, contact Mark Hurwitz, the director of compliance. Can't put that in the chat. I want to make sure that I read that. Tyler, anything else you wanted to chime in before you go back to work, bro?
I think I'm good. I'm available for a few, more minutes in case you guys have questions for me or anything.
Okay. If you guys have anything you want to ask Tyler, let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to move on to After Dark topic number 2. You are getting a couple good comments in here, Tyler. Okay, real quick. A feeling I'm all too familiar with Tyler, always too hard on myself. Love working with you and put out great content from O-Town EK. Tyler, Cam wants to know how many bitchin' fishing hats you have.
Well, how many of the flat caps? I got 4 total.
4 total. Bo Martin Jr. Tyler, I'm proud of you for holding yourself to such high standards. You're an amazing person. First and foremost, take care of you. We look forward to the return of NETMA. And then there was one more here I wanted to read. Oh, Twin Screw. Much love, Tyler. Take care of you and what you got to do. And of course, everybody needs to take care of themselves first, right? Themselves, their family, their jobs, etc. Topic number 2, and I don't know if Eddie Gage is still in the chat, but I'm going to talk about the video that he released the other day. The first, I think, 2/3 of it was him pumping up his own people from Arizona for awards, which is great. But also, the last third of it, he made some comments. And what I'm going to give is something called my opinion. It's complete speculation. I don't have any inside information, so don't read into what I'm saying. But I'm going to tell you some thoughts that I have, and then I'm going to open it up to anybody who may want to come in and talk about this as well. If you didn't hear the video, it sounds like Eddie Gage hinted at that potentially, depending on, I'm assuming, what goes on with some owners voting, if it's not already over, that the Eddie Gage the player and Eddie Gage the owner may not be around much longer. And so I started thinking about things that had been talked about in this league, what might be at the owners' table in those meetings that went long, and I came up with 3 thoughts. Again, these are my opinions. I don't have any inside information. I literally have no proof of anything I'm about to say. But what I think it could come down to is one or all of these 3 things. Number 1, we've heard that owner fees may be going up. We've heard that owners may be needing to pay for their players. And then that retirement might potentially be a thing. I don't know if any of those or all of those came up in the owners' meeting. I don't know how many got voted on. I don't know how many got passed. I'm in the same boat you are. However, my take on all of those is, and I would say this even if I was an owner. So owners and Harish, don't at me right now. I don't have a problem with owners picking up a little more slack. I don't have a problem with retirement. I actually think retirement, if you're going to have record books and you're going to have a Hall of Fame, I think retirement is necessary because otherwise you devalue the records in the Hall of Fame if you're just going to let one guy play for 100 seasons, right? Nobody's ever going to catch him. So what's the point of having a Hall of Fame or a record book at that point? Again, this isn't law. I don't have any information. These are just my opinions. And so I want to get the opinions of the panel, and I want to get the opinions of you guys in the chat. And it looks like I've already got a couple people jumping on. It looks like that want to talk. So, Mike All, once again, let me start with you know what, Harish, I'm going to start with you. You're an owner. I just kind of put you like on half blast right now. On those three things, and I don't, again, because you're an owner and because nothing's been released yet, if there's anything you can't talk about or can't say, I understand. But based on the things that I just said, based on Eddie's video, if you saw it or not, you agree with me, disagree with me? What's your take on that stuff?
Okay. First up, I did not see the video. Usually I do watch Eddie's videos, but this one I have not seen yet.
Probably because he didn't put it in all caps.
Days, yeah.
Yeah, that's because he
didn't put it in all caps. But as far as what's on the ballot, I don't know what I'm allowed to and what I'm not allowed to say.
Right.
As far as, but I mean, I will put my opinion out there on what I think about player retirement. I do understand the point of view of there's no point of Hall of Fame and record books and so on and so forth. And I mean, there have been ideas thrown out there for how we could work around that. Having said that, I don't necessarily see myself agreeing with forcing players to retire. And there are a few reasons why. One, right now, I mean, at least at this particular moment, I don't see a need for it because don't quote me on this number, but Andrew Rastelli has thrown the number out there that the average SFL career is what 2.5 seasons or something like that.
Okay.
They're very short career lengths, and there are not many players that are really that have they're what, close to 10 seasons now. I mean, I'm at 6. Eddie Gage is probably I can't remember how many seasons that he's been here, but the name that's also thrown around a lot is Matt Wilson. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Hacker times are changing. So, I mean, we'll have to see what direction things really go before we really make a major change like that.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I'm sorry if I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to move on to Coach, actually, because I know, like I said, I don't want to put you in a situation where you say something you're not supposed to say. It sounds to me, or it looks to me like, was it Dwayne or Cam said in here a minute ago? Can't find it, but that it's going to be published in the morning, and the results anyway. So that'll be
all
good.
the votes are in.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done the votes.
Okay. All right. Good. Coach. Tyler had to bounce. Everybody, I just want to let you know he had to go back to work. Sorry. I meant to say goodbye to him, and I totally spaced it. Coach, again, I'm completely speculating on what Eddie meant because I haven't even talked to Eddie about it. I just know some things that have been talked about coming down the pipeline. I'm assuming some of those might be part of what he was talking about. I have my personal opinions of those as well, as you probably do. So we'd like to hear them. And then I'm going to probably go to a caller before I go to Nate and Mike.
I think probably I'm going to say that I in the wins today heard more, and I can't better not say anything because I don't want to risk where I heard it getting in trouble.
Okay.
It's a pretty large. If this in fact happens, it's a pretty large chunk. On top of those things, would be enough to drive somebody like Eddie out. Wow, that's a horrible. That's some crap reporting right there, isn't it? It's just. Hey, listen, it's the totality of everything that's coming out right now. And there are things that need to happen, or perhaps Cam, and I'm not putting Cam on blast. Cam feels they need to happen, and sometimes it's hard to bring people along. That they may not agree, and It's not to say that Cam's always right. He's not. He's doing the best he can most of the time, I think, and kudos, right? But I think there's just a few things. There's a few too many things right now, and Eddie's feeling uneasy with it, and is kind of wondering why.
Gotcha.
The retirement alone, I'm not a fan of it because I'm personally because I'm just hitting season 4, and if we go 10 seasons, I'm almost halfway through, right?
Right.
So I'm not a huge fan of that, and I remember seeing, like Harish said, Rastelli said something. It's like 2.5 seasons or 2 seasons, 3 seasons, something. It's not very long. I do think it's kind of a joke that if you play 97 consecutive seasons, you're the all-time leading receiver. Of course you are, right? But let's not go too far in pretending that we're real football here. To my mind, if you stay with the league that long, you've accomplished something, and so maybe I'm okay with it. Maybe I'm okay with the numbers being a little bit skewed. I almost left the league at the middle of this last season. I was frustrated with the situation. I thought about doing it. And so for somebody to stay in the league 10, 12, 14 seasons, and for that reason, I'm not a fan of forced retirement. I can see the logic behind it. If it happens, I'm not going to scream and shout and stamp my feet. I'm just going to adapt, right? But that's how I feel about that particularly. But I think in Eddie's case, that probably the totality of things, and those 3 are probably part of it, but I think there's more to it.
Well, we're going to find out in a few minutes. We've got 2 callers that want to talk about this. The first is the quarterback that everybody loves to love or loves to hate. My main man, Johnny Pickler, is on the line. Johnny, what's up, bro? How you doing? Welcome back to the show. You're muted, bro. Oh, there you go. You're good.
Hey, boys. How you doing?
Doing well. I don't know how much you just heard from me. Harish spoke a little bit. Coach just spoke. And if you saw Eddie's video or not, Eddie also is in the queue. He'll be talking after you. I just want to let everybody know that Eddie's going to come on. And again, Eddie, same thing with Harish. If there's things you can't talk about or say yet, obviously do not feel obligated to talk about them. Johnny, go ahead and give us your 2 cents, bro.
Yeah, well, now I'm more almost inclined to let Eddie go before me because I know this topic is, about kind of Eddie's video. I did watch Eddie's video. I would hate to see, a guy like that, who we all love to leave the league. I know a lot of us get emotional at certain times, and there's certain things that make us want to be on our way out. I have no idea what's going. Your 3 guesses on what guys could be voting on. I do know that the whole since you brought up retirements, I have a strong opinion on that. I don't mind debating it. I'm kind of with you on that. I'm not going to say what Eddie's reasons are for his video. He can talk on that afterwards. But as far as the retirements go, I do think that needs to happen. Just for the same, I'm a stats guy, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a stats enthusiast. I think a lot of us are who are in the simulation hobby. We love looking at numbers. We love our stats. We're kind of a lot of guys are stats geeks about real sports, about fantasy sports. This isn't real football, but why have the record books if kind of you're going to strip away the integrity of the record books? I do think that retirements are a must. Rastelli may have put out, and which Harish said, that the average SFL length is 2.5 years. Well, that's also the average NFL career length is 2.5 years. That doesn't mean that players can last till they're 50. Maybe Tom Brady might, but it's pretty rare for people to have that many seasons. And then also, we said we're maybe not prepared to do that at this moment. Well, this is the time where I would instill that rule because who's our oldest player in the league? Or let's just take Eddie for example. Do we know how many seasons Eddie's been around? His player?
No, but I'll ask him when he comes on after you.
All right, let's say he's been around for 8 seasons. I'm sure someone knows 8 seasons. I mean, as long as you gave me a finite number, I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't care if you told me 20 seasons. Like, that's 10 real life years, right. But as long as you and if everybody's right that, hey man, nobody's gonna play for 10 real years, well then no one has a problem because then there's really no forced retirements. But as long as you truly do have a cap You know, that there is a max out there somewhere, so that people can chase down, you know, those all-time records and those all-time goals, and they know that, hey man, Matt Wilson can't stay in this league forever. I started 8 years after him. You know, he'll have better stats than us anyway, because he's been a great quarterback on a great passing team for years. But I'll never catch him if we retire on the same day. You know, so. You know, and again, you know, to Coach's point, this isn't real football, and that's the beauty of the thing. When Tom Brady retires, he can't reincarnate with Tom Brady Jr. I know Eddie's really attached to his player, and so I'm sure he really doesn't want owner players to not be allowed. I'm okay with owners having to pay for players. I would hate for owners to have to completely give up their players, because I get why they're attached to it, the same reason why we're attached to our players. But but you know, Eddie can make Eddie Gage Jr. Eddie can name the next player after his son and try and rebeat his own stats. He can make him the same position, you know, and he can and a new storyline is created the next day, you know. So I'm for retirement, and I think that you don't want to abruptly say, oh, we're cutting guys off at the 10-year mark, when guys like Eddie's player may be approaching the 10-year mark. He may be on season 9 right now, or Wilson may be on season 10. Don't tell them that they have to leave the league a season beforehand. Give them a couple years advance. Tell them right now it's a 15 season limit, or it's a 20 season limit, and you can start to prepare a guy. You know, you can build out a minor league player in your final, if you announce retirement, you know, at that final year of eligibility, you can start to, you know, build someone else up in the minors at the same time. And people who've been around in that long aren't going to have any issues getting drafted, because they've already had a reputation by that point. So they'll find themselves a team real soon. They won't miss a beat.
Johnny, stick around for a second. I'm going to have Eddie jump in here and say what he has on his mind, whatever he's allowed to say at this point. Eddie, welcome back to the show, bro. It's been a minute, man. You still too busy at work to hang out with us, or what's going on?
What up, though? How you doing?
Good, bro. How you been, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
So, what did you want to say about your video and/or the comments that we've been talking about here with the 3 things that I mentioned?
First thing I want to say is I want to publicly apologize to Cam. After that video came out, my DM blew up. Ashley's DMs blew up, and Cam's DMs blew up about concerns, and people, you know, kind of threatening to leave the league. Some of those people don't even play for my team. And, you know, that is not the attention that I was intending to draw off of. That was not the point of my video. I posted that video purposely after the owners' vote took place, because I didn't want to influence voters, and I hate even when some of the owners in this league try to do that with some of their rationale and stuff. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm getting off course here. So yeah, I want to publicly apologize to Cam, because I should have reached out to him and expressed my feelings before I did something like that, because it kind of blindsided him, and he spent a good portion of his day pretty much, I don't know, house cleaning, I guess you could say. So I just want to apologize to him publicly for that. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna speak on the video. What I will speak on is some of the comments, and
Okay.
you know, I don't mind owners paying for players. You know, I've never had a problem with that, and that is what it is. You know, if we're technically taking up a spot that the league can be making money off of, then obviously we should be paying for that player.
Okay.
So if what we're doing is, what is it, 24 owners, but it's like, well, I don't know how many corners we got to send, like 1 million of them, but if we're all taking up spots, then that's money that the league is losing out on, and we should, of course, be, you know, paying that. So that's not a problem for me. I forgot all the other issues that were brought up, but one of the things
I just brought up, it was just 3 things. One, that the owner fees are going up. or could be going up. Number two, that the owner players, you have owners having to pay for their players now, and the third
Yeah.
thing was the retirement thing.
Yeah, for those who weren't here, way back when, at one point owners didn't pay, and then when we did start paying, I believe it started at $50, and it's been that way ever since. Now, me and Cam have had talks, so I'm gonna be real careful about what I'm about to say next here, without him getting on my case again. But perhaps we should have had a, what? No, I'm not gonna comment on that. What I will talk about is their player retirement. Since you guys are bringing it up, me personally, it's some people, some owners have retired their players because they want to make room. In the past, Dion's done it. Fort Worth is doing it now. Other players have retired them, but they brought them back because of a need for the team. Like St. Louis, they've retired their player a few times and brought them back because they didn't find the one who's fit their need, or they felt they wanted more value. I don't know what the case may be, but they've done it. So that's their prerogative. Some people like myself, I can't speak for everyone, but I'll speak for me. I've been playing football since I was 8 years old, competitively. I started out as a kid, and it's all I've ever known until I, went and played semi-pro. Played there for a while. It's all I ever did. And when I got done with that, I started boxing. So I've been in sports pretty much my entire life. And when I got too old to compete, all of a sudden, TJ brought me into this league way back in season, I think it was 3 or whatever it was. And, I wanted to play the same position I played when I played growing up, which was running back, corner, safety. And I eventually ended up moving to safety, which is where I wanted to be. He tried to make me a quarterback one day. I said, "No, dude, I play defense. What the hell you doing?" No. And so I stayed in that position. And so now this is how I continue my dream of playing competitive. I've always been a competitor my entire life, from the chess team to football to boxing. I've always been a competitor. That's what me. And so I hear owners and other players, even Johnny just brought it up, change the name. No, dude, I don't want to change the name. I want to play as me. I don't. If I want my son to play, then he can join the SFL and play as himself. Well, first of all, I don't have a son. I got 3 girls.
You got 3 brothers.
Yeah, I wasn't blessed with that. Only male I got in my house other than me is my damn pit bull. But so I'm kind of screwed in that regard. But if I wanted that legacy to live on, my daughter can join the league if she wants to play. I don't want to play as London Gage or whatever the hell. I want to play as me. And to me, taking that away is like taking taking a part of me out. And some people complain. You got a lot of owners in here who get their player and they sign some these max deals. They start with 4 and 5 animations. Last season was my first season as an owner where I had an animation. I had 1. I give all that cap to my team. They spend that money, and I have some of the guys ask me, "Eddie, why don't you sign for more money?" I'm like, "Dude, for what? That's for y'all. I just want to see my player out there. I don't need to having 3, 4, 5 animations. I'm happy just being out there. I get the animations as the season go along. So I'm not taking up cap, space, anything like that. I just want to see me out there to continue my passion of being a competitor out there in the field.
So Eddie, let me ask you this. Actually, I want to go to the chat for a second. Then I want to ask you a question. I still need to go to Nate and Mike. I want to follow up with Johnny, and I think Cam is actually going to hop on here in a minute. Benji Matson said, would we join a simulation football league knowing that our players would have to retire after 10 seasons, but we could also be free to create a new player and start the whole process over again via the league's minor leagues? And that's, I think, kind of where I'm coming from, right? If we're going to bring record books and we're going to bring Hall of Fame into it, it's like any other video game that we play, right? You buy a video game, you play the hell out of it for however long it takes you, you beat it, and what do? You start over again, right? And so the mere fact that we now have a minor league for people to start over in, I think helps the argument for retirement, because it's not like you just got to not do anything anymore, right? You can start over and go through the whole process, or like an NCAA game, go back to high school and go through your 4 years of college and then do the draft thing into Madden. There's all these things that you can do over again. So with that question, Eddie, or that comment, Eddie, my question to you is, do you think it's fair to have a Hall of Fame and all these records if the people if people can just play forever? Because literally the people that are signing up now are 16 seasons behind, other players. They're never going to catch them. It's never going to happen. So I feel like it devalues the record books in the Hall of Fame. Do you agree or disagree?
I'll give a two-part answer to that. We as owners have been trying to come up with a solution that passes a vote.
Okay.
Up to I don't know how this season, this past season is gonna shake out. I don't know the results of that yet. But prior to this, we have not come to a solution. We can come to some kind of agreement, so it ends up not passing. Every freaking season, teams bring it up. What we as a league is trying to do is trying to make it so that everyone walks out happy. Everyone from me who doesn't want any retirement to those who think we should come to some kind of solution. I don't know the answer, but at some point I'm gonna have to spearhead this and try to figure something out, because it's brought up every freaking off season by the same people, and it seems like it's catching on, and at some point I'm gonna have to try to get ahead of this so I can be a part of the solution and not something where I'm pissed off about the result.
Well, I think the main time it came up that I remember is was it 2 off seasons ago when we had a lot of people who had retired and left the league came back and ended up taking a lot of spots that rookies thought they were going to get. I think that's where the discussion started for me, which I think is the off season after 14. I'm sure you guys probably had it before I came around, but for me, that's kind of where I remember the discussion really starting and getting, gaining some legs, if you will.
Here's my opinion on that. To directly answer that, Rastelli couldn't have said it any better for me. You have people here who average, like as Harish said, right now 2 to 3 seasons and are gone. Now, if it gets to a point where that average increases to God knows whatever number, I'm gonna have to help figure that out. And all of a sudden we're a hindrance and we're holding back, more people, then that's something we should seriously explore. And I believe that. But until that day comes, I don't see a reason for me to have to retire a player who, when the average is 2 to 3 seasons and they're gone. That to me, I mean, even I think Rastelli said another comment he brought up was the fact that right now, I think we have, if we were to make this rule where players have to retire after 10 seasons, I think as of last season, I think that number was less than 10. But every year, this is brought up as a conversation. We got to get these guys out of here. Dude, it's not even 10 of us. But y'all trying to, I shouldn't say y'all, excuse me. But people are trying to force us out. And we just happy to be here, love to be here. And for whatever reason, some guys are okay retiring their player. Me personally, I'm not. I don't want to retire my player. I don't. So then the conversation's been brought up. Okay, well, you don't have to retire your player, but then we'll, stop tracking stats after X amount of seasons. Well, the issue with that is, okay, a player like, say, who plays safety like me. Let's. Oh, you know what? I can't talk on that.
Okay. Hey, actually, Eddie, let me stop you just for 1 second. I want to read another comment, and then I want to give Johnny a chance to come back with what he was trying to say, what he was trying to finish when I cut him off earlier. Johnny, before I go to you, Bullet Valetsky said, I actually think that this debate is actually why I love this league. We all take this so seriously that we are talking with such passion about the merits of forced retirement of imaginary players. Love it, all caps with exclamation marks. And I agree. I don't think there's any hate or discontent or anything about that. I think We're just trying to figure out where is the fair balance. Johnny, Hacker just jumped in, but Johnny, let me go back to you since I cut you off earlier. Let me have you finish your point, and then I think we're still waiting on Cam as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, first off, just to go back to the whole, we're all, we're averaging 2.5 seasons. That's those numbers. I believe those retention numbers are based since kind of the beginning of SFL time, and I think that we admit that since season 13 or so that this is a different league now. Whether you call it the TV era, whether you call it whatever you want to call it, the progression era, all these different things. Eddie and all the owners would admit that we talk about it all the time, how different the league was back when. So I think that because of how great the league's done, and that's credit to Cam and league staff, that's credit to owners who've made smart decisions, that's credit to all of the customers and the content creators who organically have helped build this league to what it is. I think that we can expect retention numbers to be a much higher rate going forward than just 2.5 years. I think that if you look back just since season 14, since we were drafted, our draft class, Dave, I think a lot of our draft class is still around. I think the class after that's still around. And we're already passing the average. I'm going into my 4th season. You're going into your 4th season. So we're past. So I do think that number is a little skewed, saying that the average is 2.5 seasons. I think you're talking about a different SFL for a lot of that. So I think that we can all be encouraged in thinking that the league's retention will get better. That being said, Eddie, you yourself have told me that those records that you've achieved, your safety, he's a stud, and and I love that you're a safety and that you have a passion to be a great safety because you played safety in real life the same way I played quarterback in real life, and I didn't get to the semi-pro level, but I played some traveling base, flag football, and I know that you can respect that too, and how competitive that got. But so my point is, you had your heart's tied to your players' achievements, and you yourself have expressed how you're proud of leading those categories. You're proud of being the tackle leader, the interception leader, the pick six leader, whatever other categories you're in charge of right now. And you've earned those fairly, and no one's taking the integrity of your records away. But if you can appreciate those records, don't you think that other defensive backs out there would love the opportunity to be able to break your records? Don't you want to challenge them to be able to break your records one day? Because right now your record has integrity stamped on it, and no one's trying to push you out. I didn't say 10 seasons. I said 10 years. I said 20 seasons. Stamp it on a Brady career. Say 20 seasons. That gives you that means that you're only halfway through your career right now. So keep on going. And that's a lot of time. You might want to quit the league for other reasons before that. So no one's trying to push you out. But I did want a finite number on it to keep integrity behind your player's record. Because if there's no finite number on it, then your record loses integrity. Then it's not that great that you achieved being the leader if you just played more than other people did. And also, I want to challenge you, any of the other people, who think that, I want to talk about the quarterback position for a second, because I too take pride in stats and things like that. I want you to look at the records, both career records and single season records for quarterbacks. And whether Hacker, I know you're a stats nerd like myself, Cam, if you jump on, Eddie, Harish, anyone, I just want to, Dave, yourself, if anyone can tell me what record a quarterback in this league right now, who's now going to have to pay an increased fee to play a quarterback, what record can I possibly break? There's no records I can break because it's a different era now. No one will ever break the all-time passing yards record because that was achieved back when you were allowed to have 100% passing offense, and now coaches have to put rushing plays in the offense even if they wanted to pass all the time. I can't pass the touchdown record. No one's going to throw 50. The only thing I can break is an interception record or a bad QBR. Only negative records. I can't break. I would challenge you to tell me what record I could actually break in a single season. So then I looked right off the bat when I joined this league. I'm like, damn, I'll never be able to break a single season record. It's like those old 1800 MLB records, like with Cobb, Ty Cobb or whatever, these unrealistic records that you just can't beat. But the MLB separated it by era so that Nolan Ryan now can have the most strikeouts in a season instead of a dude in front of him who had a bunch more. So now if you don't allow retirements, now I can't even chase any all-time records. So now I'm really screwed. I can't even set a single season record in my best season, and I'll never be able to even chase the illusion of a career record if you say that Matt Wilson's allowed to play as long as I am. Those are my points on that issue.
Let me, Eddie, I'm sure you want to respond again, but you know what? Hacker's been waiting for a little bit, and then I got Cam. So let me, Hacker, why don't you go ahead and I don't know if you wanted to respond to Johnny or if you came on to say something else, but go ahead. The floor is yours. Oh, maybe the floor isn't yours. Hacker? Maybe I'll jump to Cam. Hold on. Yeah, Hacker, I see you muting and unmuting, but I don't see a green circle. Jump out and come back in, and I'll bring you back in. If you can hear me. I don't even know if you can hear me. Here. Oh, there you go. He's back already. If this doesn't work, Cam, I'm going to go to you. All right, Hacker, can you hear me now? No? Yeah, there's something on your end, I think, bro. I'm not sure what's going on. Cam, the commissioner, is here to chime in on this. I'm sure nobody has more information about this topic and stats and record books and Hall of Fame than he does. Cam, welcome back to the show. Good to see you. What's on your mind tonight as far as this topic goes?
About me, am I working, Dave?
Are you what? Yeah, you are. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with, like, Hacker. I could see him muting and unmuting, but I never saw a green circle around him, so I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, that's all.
You're good. You're good to go.
No, I think everybody that's talked on this topic has proven the point. And the point is that this is hard. Mm-hmm. This is a hard topic. Mm-hmm. And I think the hardest topics in the league are always the topics, if you remember back to all the debates that you've had on After Dark, Dave, how many of them concerned realism with simulation? Meaning, how many of them concern reality blending with virtual reality? Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Those are the hardest ones because you have to balance how do you keep the simulation part of your name recognized, but then how do you also do right by your customers, right? Do right by the people that care so much about the league. So, and I think that's to the credit of ownership. That's why ownership sometimes, you hear the horror stories or, you hear that you're constantly fighting or arguing or whatever. It's because it's hard. They do difficult, challenging work trying to come together as a unit of some of the most and most of the most passionate people in the SFL. And sometimes it just takes years to figure something out. And this is one of those cases, as Eddie was bringing up, how it constantly comes up every year. And I've implored people that are passionate about this issue and all issues. It goes back to everything that happens in a democracy. If you have two sides that stand on the fence and it's either yes or no, nothing happens.
Right.
There's no positive change. Nothing ever gets put into action. Nobody can ever agree. It's when those two sides reach across the aisle and say, what's most important to you out of this? And then vice versa, right? So what's most important to the people that feel retirement is important, and what's most important to the people that feel like retirement is useless? And come together and figure it out. And I implore my teams to do that, and they do that so often. Well, oftentimes they forget that they can, because it feels like it's, there's no way. Why would I ever compromise on this issue at all? And it's like, well, because you don't want to be left behind, right? You want to make a difference in this. You don't want to just be a part of the minority that loses. You want to be a part. You want every team at the end of the day to be a part of something positive. And it's those rules that pass with 85% majority, 90% majority. Those are the ones that are usually the best, because everybody, felt like they had something to contribute and something that they liked in it. And most of those votes don't have a complete, we hit a home run here, but it represents the entirety of the league, from the players to the teams to to realism, to reality, all that stuff. So this conversation kind of proves my whole point, that it's difficult, and it's challenging, and anybody that is discussing the issue should always come at it with that knowledge, right? That this is difficult. I'll give you a perfect example, Dave. I proposed a retirement thing this season, and it got the least amount of votes of all of them. I'm not very smart by myself, right?
And I think
all
we
the
all say
owners
that about you anyway, but that's okay. Go ahead.
well, but all the owners turn around and they go, "This is stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard." I'm not surprised.
Harisha's smiling, so it must be true.
Because anytime you have an issue that's this complex, there is no one person that just comes out of the woodwork and nails it. Right. It has to come from a group. It's why those things are important. And sometimes even things that owners or players or people don't think is a compromise, they are. Even some things that aren't voted on are a compromise already by default, right? They may not be everything that I want or everything that a player wants or everything that a team wants, but I've already given in to that compromise, right? So because I understand that what would be perfect or best for the league or for teams or for players or whatever is not the right solution almost never, right? So it is all that is all weighted and all considered. So it's always important when approaching these discussions and listening to people and their opinions that there are certain people like Johnny's coming at it from a record standpoint, Eddie's coming at it from a logistics standpoint. There's not a need for this. There's and so many people in the chat room have brought up different points and different reasons and different topics. Every time somebody places an opinion, it's an opinion about just a small portion of this debate. And that's what makes it challenging. So nobody's opinion should ever be diminished. They're just a part of the conversation. And you have to take all of those parts and turn it into something positive. And sometimes when I put that task in front of people, they think, well, that's hard as hell. I don't want to do it. Well, then you don't really care that much, because those are the challenges of being a league of this size. Is you do have to work together, on these issues. So it's good, it's healthy. It's a difficult conversation. It's very emotional. Some people are more attached to it than others.
Right.
Some people feel more strongly about it than others. But I'm not surprised, right? So, we just have to approach it with patience and, an extended branch to others, and eventually, we'll figure this out as a league. We always do.
Let me ask you this, without letting the cat out of the bag, since those come out tomorrow. Whether
I will. They all failed.
Something. Whether something passed or did not pass, could you say that at least there was headway made on this topic and the other two topics that were brought up earlier?
Well, the other two topics were discussed at the very beginning of the off season. So it's been in motion for 3 weeks. It really hasn't been any kind of recent debate or anything. That was how we kind of started the off season. But in terms of the retirement, like I said, I mean, the voting is done. I'll release it tomorrow morning. But they all failed, and they all failed because none of them are good. I mean, that's not my opinion. That's what the voting tells me, right? So because of that, that just proves the point that it needs more work. And I don't mind things failing over and over and over again, because eventually it's gonna work, right? Do I think there was headway made on the topic? I think that it's always good to continue a conversation that isn't resolved. I mean, I think that from that standpoint, it's made headway, but I also think that it's made headway from the standpoint of more and more people care about the issue, which means that there's more of an urgency to do something positive with it. Before, people do something for the sake of just doing something, right? That's never good, Dave. When people say, "Oh, I'm so sick and tired of talking about this, I'll just vote for anything."
Right.
That's never good, right? Because then now you're just folding your cards and saying we give up. So yeah, I think a little headway's been made, but it's one of the more complicated subjects and topics. So it's going to take some time.
Let me real quick. I don't think Hacker made it back on. I don't think he put anything in the chat. I want to go to Nate and Mike real quick because I skipped them, and then I want to come back.
Yeah, and I'm good. And I'm good, Dave. Unless
Okay.
anybody has anything specific for me, I've said my piece.
No,
I can go.
I think the only thing that I want to say is I've seen a lot of people use the term forced retirement and how that's not realistic because we don't force real athletes to retire. And I think that we're not giving it a fair argument by calling it forced retirement. Saying something has a limit doesn't make it forced retirement. Giving something a limit makes it more realistic. Like like what you said, Cam, trying to blend the simulation with the realism because Tom Brady can't play till he's 90 years old. That's not realistic. So we're not talking about forced retirement. And I actually don't mind. I think what Johnny brought up, I think 20 seasons. I mean, for somebody to stay in the league for 10 years, it's a big chunk of time anyway. So I don't think anybody's saying force them out right now, force them out in a year, what have you. But if there's like a 20 season limit, that's more realistic because not very many people, including Tom Brady up until recently, play 20 years in the NFL either.
It's also worth noting, Dave, that nobody is telling a player. Right, I would be about the dumbest businessman in the history of the planet if after 10 years of loving a product, I said, "You got to go. I need you to leave."
Well,
you don't get to have
right? You wouldn't have to
have
leave.
another player. You don't get to do anything. See ya, get out. Right? We put people in the Hall of Fame that are still playing. So we obviously don't feel that way about players. So I agree, Dave. The whole forced retirement thing is getting a little bit
I don't like
mischaracterized.
the term.
But
yeah, I agree.
But yes,
I don't know, AJ. I don't know. I didn't see anybody bring up old guard versus new guard or anything, unless I missed something else. I don't think this is an old guard versus new guard issue necessarily.
It's not. I can say voting. That's not this.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. No, Cam, you're good to go. You can bounce, bro. I'm going to wrap this up anyway here in just a second. So thank you for coming on and kind of explaining some things to us. Appreciate it. Nate, let me jump to you real quick. Then I'm going to jump to Mike. And then we could probably start wrapping this up unless Eddie wants to say one more thing as a response to what Johnny said. But Nate, let me go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those things where, like Cam was saying, you gotta try to find a happy medium. I can see valid arguments on both sides of the fence here as far as whether you should retire, have a set number of seasons where you retire your player and have the option to come back later as a new player and build yourself up again. But I could also see where Eddie and AJ's coming from, where you've done something for so long that you love that this is all you know, and you shouldn't have to force your player to retire, just to start over in the future. I think it's one of those things where I saw something in chat earlier where AJ said add more teams, and we're already at, what is it? I think it's 22 teams
24,
now in the SFL?
24.
24 teams, okay. And she was saying to build it up to 32. I think you got to find that happy medium of the number of teams that you want compared to how many players there are. Plus, you got to think, too, we're running into a problem where there's more and more minor league players that are coming into the league. And we got to have that healthy rotation of minor league players getting a chance in the majors, and so forth. So, like Johnny was saying, I agree with him. If there was some sort of, way that we can, even 20, I agree with that 20 number, 20 seasons in the league, that's 10 years. I can see that becoming an option. And then if you want to keep playing, then rebuild your player. And so forth. So I think there needs to be something, though, where that has a number needs to be set, so some of these other newer players can have a chance to rotate and play in the majors.
Gotcha. Michael, before I go back to over here, unless I'm going to see if Harish and Coach have anything else too, but Mike, what's your take on all this?
I'm not for or against at the moment, but I can understand it. There are certain players, and I'm going to use it as an example. MSG from the chat here, he's wholeheartedly against forced retirement. However, when he came into the minors, he was a quarterback. He currently plays wide receiver. If there was some limit to what a player could be in the league, and not the person, because the person doesn't have to leave,
right?
But a character in the league, after 20 seasons, has to hang him up. Mike could come back as a quarterback, which is what he wanted to be in the first place. And I would be all for Mike being a quarterback.
That's a good point.
Eddie, I know Eddie. He's wholeheartedly defense. He loves safety position. Maybe Eddie plays linebacker next time.
I don't know. After this season, I would argue that Eddie does like offense. The way the record, the points that Arizona put up this season, bro. I think Eddie's starting to come to the dark side a little bit.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got the OC title down now. He's definitely getting it. But the person doesn't have to leave.
Right.
Just a digital representation of something that doesn't even really exist in the first place. It's not the end of the world. It's there's other positions you could try out, and not everybody wants to do that. I get that. To be devil's advocate, it's not something that's going to kill you.
That is probably true. Let me see. I was ready for you to jump in after he said, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Harish." Should I go to Eddie first then, before I go to you?
Yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
Okay, Eddie, go ahead, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
I don't have much to add. I'll just reiterate that I'm totally against us holding back rookies who don't have a place to play, if indeed there are a number of players who've been around a while, don't plan on leaving, and you got these rookies who want to get drafted and can't. When it gets to the point where tenure in the SFL gets to number X, whatever that may be, and we're holding up guys from having an opportunity to play, I'll be more than happy to step aside and let someone else take my place.
Okay. Harish, did you have something you wanted to add?
Nothing entirely new. I mean, I pretty much just echo what Eddie just said. I mean, when it comes to this topic, him and I have our opinions on the topic very much overlap.
I also agree with what Dwayne just said, who actually put it in one sentence for a change.
Which one is that? The one where he added Ashley at? I don't know the exact number, but it's less than a dozen?
Less than a dozen people here right now have over 10 seasons in the league.
Right. So, but and again, we don't need to beat this point down, but doesn't it make sense to try to get ahead of this now, especially since it's such a touchy topic, than to wait 5 more years down the road or whatever? Then you do have these players that have been around too long.
Which I totally agree, which is why I said if we can sit down and say, hey, let's jump on this ahead of time and figure this out, so that, say, when the average tenure in the SFL is X amount of years and we are holding back progress from guys getting an opportunity, we need to start forcing people out. Right. I have no problem doing that whatsoever when it gets to that point.
Yeah, actually, we are, because I think it's, like I just mentioned, I think it's more important to talk about it now than to wait until it's too late to talk about it, especially since it's a topic that Cam just came on and said is a topic people are very split on, very passionate about. It's going to take a long time to talk it out. So I think it's actually good that we're talking about it now, and maybe in a few seasons or whatever, a few years, maybe we'll have an answer, so we don't get into that position that Eddie just brought up. Let me see if anybody else has anything in here. We are way, way long on this show. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up there, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, listen, I think there's valid points on both sides. I understand both sides of the argument. My personal part of that, and like Cam said, we all have a little part or a piece that maybe we're more passionate about it than we are about the entire argument. Mine in particular happens to be the credibility, if you will, of the record books and the Hall of Fame when we get to that point. And the other one was, and this is another good thing. So this is why I think this debate is good. Like Bullet brought up earlier, why this debate is good. A couple off seasons ago, when a lot of retirees came back, and rookies saw that, and they felt like they came back and took their spots, right? They were able to come back, go back to their old teams, get their old positions, what have you. And that's where some of this argument started. But what was great about that is now we have a rule in place because of all the debate that happened that if you retire, I think you get, and again, I don't even remember it exactly, but I think you get one season off and you can come back the same, and then after that you start regressing, like we talked about Marcus Dunhill. That was a great rule. I think it's a great compromise, and it all started with the fact that we started debating and we started talking about it, and we were able to make that progress on it. And I think this is another point of the exact same method that we should be using, talking about it now, so it doesn't catch up to us later. All of that being said, let me pull up my list here and see. We had a lot of people on the show. I got to make sure to remember to thank everybody. Mike All, thanks for being here from your 11th or 12th room in your house, whatever it is. Nate, thanks for being on the ear with us tonight. Appreciate that. Oh, you finally get to take them off. How I bet Ethan is loving this. The one show that we have that goes 2.5 hours, right? This couldn't be an hour and 15-minute show for you. It had to be 2.5 hours for you to wear those.
Dude, he
ears.
said he's already gonna make memes of this in his spare.
It works out perfect. Coach, thanks for coming back. Good to see you here again. And Harish finally making it on the show. And of course, you had to come on one of the marathon shows. But thanks for finally being here and coming on the show. Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Appreciate it.
Also, thanks to Johnny, Eddie, Cam, Hacker trying to get on, and of course my main man Gunny. We'll be back in about 48 hours, probably like 42 hours now. Damn. On Thursday, right here at 9 p.m. on Twitch, where not only will we see you at the tees, but we will be talking the nominees for the Axes, the very first Axes. You guys asked for them, so we're going to deliver them. So maybe you're nominated, maybe you're not. I don't know, but tune in Thursday night right here, 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, and we'll see you at the tees.